What is it?
You know what that is.
Okay, yeah, but like, how did it get here? I'm gonna go for a walk.
No. Look at it. You already played Sonic 1. It's time to play the second one.
Yeah, but I didn't think the day would come so soon.
You have to.
Whoa. I don't have to do anything. No! You see this? This is nice. But you know what? It could be better. Yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, released on a Tuesday, November 24th in 1992. So like, this is the third Sonic game, right? Nah, but in all seriousness, I've been literally dying to talk about this game. You see, I might have talked about Sonic 1, but come on, that was Sonic 1. This is Sonic 2. They're not the same, they're just not. The year is 1991. Sonic the Hedgehog had been released and the world had gone wild. He was the very definition of what it was to be cool in the 90s. So, Sega decided it was time for a sequel. But it wasn't that simple. Yuji Naka, the lead programmer for Sonic 1, actually left Sega of Japan shortly after the release of the first game. He wasn't satisfied with how he was being treated at the company, as they weren't giving him the credit he believed he deserved. However, with some convincing by Mark Cerny, a good friend of his who worked at Sega STI, basically the American version of Sega, Yuji Naka decided to rejoin Sega, this time Sega of America, to make Sonic 2. I mean, it's the sequel. How are they gonna make it without Mr. Sonic himself? You can't escape him, Yuji Naka. Now, one thing you might have not known is that Sonic has always been way more popular in the States than in his own home country, Japan, which is a stark contrast to his old rival who hits it big back then. So, Sega actually decided to release their second Sonic game on just some regular old Saturday in the East. For America though, we had a whole event for the launch of this game called Sonic Tuesday. Get it? Because it's Sonic 2, released on a Tuesday in 1992? I'll stop.
There are hundreds of video games, and the video game buyer knows what they want. And you can't come out with a lousy video game, especially coming out with Sonic 1. You had to come out with something better, and it looks like Sega outdid themselves with Sonic 2. With the split screen, with Tails being a great character to add onto Sonic, it looks like Sega really has a winner.
Sonic Tuesday happened in the US, France, England, and even in Japan still, despite the fact that Sonic 2 came out 3 days before that Tuesday. Everywhere else, this game released on a Tuesday, but I think the reason why this game had to come out a bit earlier in Japan was from the fear of school children skipping school to buy Sonic 2 instead of learning. On February 10th, 1983, when Dragon Quest III came out for the Famicom, so many Japanese kids and workers left their schools and jobs just to go to the store and buy this game. Across the whole country, people were literally just ditching their obligations in order to get a piece of this new release. It got so bad that the police actually contacted the developers telling them they needed to do something about it. Now I get it. Dragon Quest is a pretty beloved franchise, especially in Japan. But this hype, y'all? This hype? Come on now. So maybe releasing Sonic 2 on a Tuesday was a bad idea in Japan. The game had to follow suit. Everywhere else though? Yeah, release Sonic 2 on a Tuesday. Who cares if kids skip school? Shame, Sega. Shame. Anyways, at Sonic Tuesday, there were these stations where people could try Sonic 2 for the first time and see how they liked it. The people spoke and they all agreed. This game was pretty sick. Kids, teenagers, adults, they were all fascinated by just how good this game was. Sega did a great job building up hype for this game with genius marketing strategies. Just the idea of Sonic Tuesday, an event where people could just try Sonic 2? You can't lie, that was pretty smart. So this game was beloved. I'll be the judge of that. Me. Now, I played Sonic 2 on some old Flash websites back in the day, which I mentioned the first time we played Sonic 1. But I only really played Sonic 2 when my mom bought me the 3DS port of the game. And man, this port got me through so many road trips during the summer of 2017. I must have beaten this game like 6 times. Just like Sonic 1, Sonic 2 had a lot of ports on different consoles. If a console or handheld can run Sonic 1, it most definitely can run Sonic 2. And whew, look at this box art, man. Iconic. Well, hey, we already talked about Sonic 1, so let's finally get to the nitty-gritty and talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Yeah, my cartridge is a little beat up. I got it at an old retro gaming shop years ago. The last owner must have played it to death. Yo, what up, Sonic? Do we know you, or like... This is Miles Tails Prower, or just Tails for short. Get it? His name is Miles Prower, like miles per hour?
I'll stop.
Every hero needs a sidekick, and for Sonic it was this lovable two-tailed fox who could sort of keep up with his speed. Sort of. During gameplay, Tails just follows you around and mimics the moves you do. In single player, he doesn't add much, but if you plug a second controller in, you can actually control Tails while player 1 controls Sonic. That's sick! Now you can beat the game with a friend, except the camera is always locked in on Sonic, and in a game all about speed, well, someone has to be left behind. Sorry, Tails. You'll get him next time. But yeah, this was Tails' introduction to the Sonic franchise. If you want to, you can just play Tails instead of playing Sonic and Tails. I say there's no real point though, because while you can see him flying with his two tails when you're playing with Sonic, when playing with just Tails you actually can't fly at all. That's weird, and why not? You see Tails flying all the time when you play just Sonic. Sonic 1 was a cool game, but you know what it was missing? The spin dash. I complained about how in the first game there was no spin dash, but now it's here. But what does it do? That whoever it was at Sega who just came into work one day and said, spin dash, needs to be awarded because this single move makes playing Sonic way more enjoyable. Now you don't even have to run to build up momentum, you can just spin dash. And plus it's super satisfying to build it up and then instantly shoot off after letting go of the A button. Or B. Or C. Yeah, you could play Sonic with like one button, they all jump. In my opinion, the main theme of Sonic 2 is doing everything Sonic 1 did, but better. And I really mean everything. The colors for one just pop more in this game than they did in Sonic 1. Every stage is so bright and lively, which in comparison to Sonic 1 makes that game look drab and old. Sonic is a few shades lighter now. Instead of navy blue, Sonic is now more of a royal blue, which I think contrasts way better with these environments than his old color palette. Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik, is doing the exact same thing he was doing in the first game, except now he wants the Chaos Emeralds to power his new invention, the Death Egg. Oh yeah. Your invention. Your 100% original spacecraft that totally isn't ripping off something else. No wonder you lose to a blue hedgehog. You plagiarize. 7 Chaos Emeralds this time, and also new special stages. Gone are the rotating maze levels from the first game, and in are these colorful half-pipe stages. If you collect 50 rings by the time you pass a checkpoint or goalpost, you'll be able to complete a special stage. There are actually multiple checkpoints scattered throughout each level, so you actually have way more opportunities to collect all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds, opposed to only being able to at the end of each level, like in Sonic 1. So if you really wanted to, you could actually have all 7 Chaos Emeralds by the end of the first zone, Emerald Hill. But there's a catch. Remember that oh so adorable, lovable sidekick Tails who's been tagging along with us? Ditch him. Now. Before it's too late. Playing with Tails in these special stages is one of the worst mistakes you could ever make. In order to complete these stages, the game will give you a set amount of rings you need to collect, and your job is to surpass that number before it's too late. It then increases about 2 or 3 times until you reach the Chaos Emerald. You want to make sure you dodge these bombs though, because if you hit one, you'll lose some rings just like you would in the main game. The problem is when playing with Tails, his movements are always made a split second after yours. I turn right, and then Tails goes right. I go left, and then Tails comes left. Because of this, dodging bombs is way harder because you have to account for whether Tails will actually follow your movements in time. And if you don't, Tails is going to get hit, lose your rings, and you potentially won't be able to complete said level. All because of this two-tailed freak. Just kidding, Tails. But come on, what are you doing, bro? Alright, this is the one, I feel it, this is the one, no! To be 100% honest with you guys, when I play this game, I always go Sonic and Sonic alone for this sole reason, which I really shouldn't have to do. Getting all the Chaos Emeralds with Tails, especially in some of these later special stages, is dang near impossible. This was such a weird choice. I don't know why Tails just lags behind you like this. But why would I even go through so much effort for the Chaos Emeralds? They don't even do anything, right? Whoa, this is Super Sonic. After collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds, you unlock this form that allows Sonic to basically destroy any enemy in his path. Sonic becomes faster, can jump higher, and is basically invincible. But wait, Goku from Dragon Ball Z has a similar transformation called Super Saiyan, where his abilities are significantly buffed and his hair turns yellow. Sega, who did you think you were fooling here? Nah, but this form is great. It's just that it might be a little too powerful. Super Sonic is sick, but it's so easy to just mindlessly run through levels when he's on. I catch myself not even thinking, just holding right and jumping until I reach the end. Which can be fun, but you know, that kind of takes away from the level design. That's why you kind of want to be disciplined with Super Sonic, as you could just not care and use him 24/7. Instead of 3 acts every zone, now we only have 2, although this game has 14 zones in total, while Sonic 1 only has 6. Emerald Hill Zone, it's Green Hill Zone 2.0. Better colors, better music, better design. You might be Green Hill Zone, but he's Emerald Hill Zone. Emerald Hill takes everything that Green Hill Zone did and just does it better. For this playthrough, I tried getting all the Chaos Emeralds before the end of this zone, but Tails just wasn't having that. My grandfather always used to say, the second try is always better than the first try. Sonic 2 does everything Sonic 1 did better. The second zone in Sonic 1 was Marble Zone, which didn't really make sense coming after a fast-paced zone like Green Hill. Green Hill Zone is fast and fun, and Marble Zone is slow and monotonous. Just a bad time overall. Sonic 2, however, does not make the same mistake, as the second zone chemical plant is just as fast, if not faster, than Emerald Hill. This is such a cool setting, the red city in the background with what appears to be a yellow sea? That can't be good for the environment. Sonic 2, what social commentary are you trying to push here? This zone is great. It doesn't overstay its welcome, which none of the zones do because the acts are now 2 instead of 3. And it's fast, to the point where Sonic just plain outruns the camera itself. I mean, you could tell the developers were just having a field day with this zone, trying to see how far they could push the capabilities of Sonic's speed. Aquatic Ruin. Wait. Aquatic Ruin. Aqua. Aqua means water. Water level. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm leaving. Okay, you're not gonna do my job for me. Yeah, Aquatic Ruin is one of those zones which might sound bad on paper. I mean, it's a water level, and if it's anything like Labyrinth Zone, we have reason to be scared. But no, it's actually a great zone. There's 2 paths you can take to complete it. You have the top path, where you make 0 contact with any water at all, and then there's the bottom half, which is mostly underwater. So, unlike Labyrinth Zone, if you really wanted to, you could just avoid all the water altogether. And even then, the water sections aren't even that bad. They're still slow, but like, at this point, I'd take any water level over that. Shut up. Casino Night Zone. Okay, this is cool. It's a Sonic level set in a casino. I mean, how could you not love that? Look at the city. Look at this gambling game. Huh. There it is. This is the one. Yes, sir, baby. Yes, sir. It's not even fair. One thing about Casino Night Zone that I absolutely dread is that there are these bumpers everywhere. They're super annoying to get around and you can't escape them. Once you're surrounded by some, you're stuck. You have no control of where your character is going to go. The boss fight is cool though. If you get into a rhythm, you can just keep attacking Robotnik every time you run up a slope. Hilltop Zone is actually kind of just Emerald Hill Zone with the color palette shifted a bit. Cool zone though, with a lot of rising lava sections which are scary as heck. It's just very normal. I mean, every zone in this game is unique, but out of all zones, this one is definitely the most generic. Like, even the name is sort of lame. Hilltop Zone. Ah, yes, hills. Mystic Cave Zone. Best zone in the game, man. Absolutely sick settings, sick music, sick everything. Every zone in this game just makes sense from a design standpoint and a visual standpoint. The combination of the purple cave background with the green cave-like structures really makes this feel like a mystic cave. Just don't fall into this pit, cause yeah. Especially if you're supersonic, you literally have to wait until the amount of rings you have drain out, and even then you'll still collect some when you turn back into regular Sonic and get damaged. In the mobile port of Sonic 2, this pit was actually replaced with another zone, Hidden Palace Zone. This was one of the many scrap zones from this game, along with Wood Zone. Of course, the music slaps, the setting slaps, not to sound like a broken record here, but I really feel like I'm in a hidden palace. Oil Ocean Zone. Boring. Lame. Who wants to run in oil? Let alone an ocean of it. Metropolis Zone. This zone is so hard. It's 3 acts long instead of the regular 2 acts like every other zone in this game. Like, Sega, please, you were doing so good with the pacing in this game, but you just had to mess it up. 3 acts for a Sonic zone is way too much. It doesn't help that these are some of the longest acts in this game, and there's 3 of them. I literally don't even enjoy myself when playing this zone. I just turn my brain off until it's over. Sure, that little might sound pretty funky the first time, but the 105th time after getting all the rings you could ever collect knocked out of you doesn't hit the same, now does it? I'm over exaggerating, of course, but this zone really shouldn't have been this long and difficult. I know we're getting towards the end of the game now, but come on. Just chill. And the boss fight is dumb too. Robotnik has these clones of him that rotate around him, but in order to get the first hit on him, you have to take damage and then use your invincibility frames to hit him. And I've tried, believe me, I've tried to accurately time my jump so I hit him at the exact right moment where I won't lose rings, but it's just not possible. Cool setting though. It makes me really feel like I'm in a Metropolis. After the gut-wrenching experience of Metropolis Zone, Sky Chase should make you feel a little better. Tails is a pilot, and he's surprisingly good at keeping up with Sonic so he doesn't fall to his demise. Finally, you put yourself to use. Bro, I don't even care anymore, bro. But wait, who's piloting that massive ship? Yeah, who cares? Here we are, the last zone, Ring Fortress. They did a really good job making this zone feel epic by having Sonic have to jump off the plane after it gets shot down by one of Robotnik's missiles. Tails is down, so now it's just up to Sonic to make his way through. I love this zone, but this is the part that always takes me the longest time every time I replay this game. Something about the level design is just a little confusing. It's not always obvious where you're supposed to head next. The music is nice, but kind of creepy. It sounds upbeat, but also hints at the possibility of impending doom at the same time, building suspense for the true ultimate showdown against Sonic and Robotnik. And plus, there are just too many ways to die in this zone. I know it's the last full-length zone, but come on. It's like none of these platforms want to stay still. They have to change positions. They just have to. After defeating another one of Robotnik's inventions, he escapes in another flying spacecraft. But luckily, Tails has repaired the plane in time for us to reach and grab on. Dang, that plane just got hit by a radioactive beam, and somehow Tails was able to repair it and then get it back up to speed in just less than 5 minutes? Sheesh. And here we are, the final zone, Death Egg. We're thrown in with no rings, again, just like the final zone in Sonic 1. You really cannot slip up or else you'll instantly die, as you have 0 rings to save you. Die too many times and you've got yourself a game over, and unless you scored some extra continues, your sorry butt is going all the way back to the title screen, where you'll have to play through the whole entire game all over again up to this point. So needless to say, don't get hit. This didn't really bother me in the first game, but in this game, it does, because these last 2 boss fights are hard. We at least could have got like, I don't know, 3 rings at the start or something, but nope, 0 rings, 1 hit, and you're done. First we fight Silver Mecha Sonic. Wow, Robotnik is really obsessed with Sonic. I mean, he hates him for always thwarting his plans, but he also creates weapons of mass destruction in his image. Guys, I think there's something else going on here. 8 blows to Mecha Sonic and we catch Robotnik, absolutely flabbergasted, just standing there, not knowing what to do. But then he remembers, oh, I built a giant robot, and then quickly runs to his last-ditch invention to defeat Sonic. But wait, did he just outrun Sonic? Sonic, the Hedgehog. That makes zero sense. Sonic is the fastest thing alive. There is absolutely no shot that Robotnik just outran Sonic himself. I think Robotnik should be out here saving the world, not you. This final boss was the #1 enemy of my younger self. I cannot tell you how many times I played all the way up to this point, lost all my lives, and got booted all the way back to Emerald Hill Zone, losing all the hours I had just spent playing through all of these zones. It doesn't matter if you unlock Super Sonic or not, he can't help you here. It's just you and Robotnik. No rings, no transformations, and no one to save you. The hitbox on this boss is kind of weird. You have to jump over these spike hands to damage him, but it's a really small window to do so. But land that final blow and hightail it out of there. Look at how cool Sonic is, man, running from literal explosions like it's nothing. And here is my favorite ending to any video game ever. Sonic just jumped out of Robotnik's lab, meaning he's completely airborne. Luckily, Tails is on the ground and quickly hops on his plane to save his new friend, with the animals they saved coming along as well. And then we cut to Sonic falling, as Tails quickly swoops in and saves him. This is so heartwarming, man. Tails follows you throughout the whole game up until this point. He's stuck by your side no matter how many times you left him in the dust. And now he's back to prove to Sonic he's a bit more than just a kid who wanted to tag along. Without Tails here to save Sonic, he would have been a goner. He may not be as fast as the Hedgehog, but he makes up for it with his other skills, like piloting a plane at 8 years old. That's what makes this ending so sweet. It really establishes the brotherhood between Sonic and Tails. And the score. Oh my gosh. Don't know if I mentioned this the first time around, but the soundtracks for Sonic 1 and 2 were composed by the Japanese band Dreams Come True. And oh man, I think we've already heard enough of how talented they are. This ending song is actually a rendition of one of the band's songs, Sweet Sweet Sweet. I don't think I can play the original here, but that's just a little tidbit that I don't think many are aware of. So that was Sonic 2, and yes, it was way better than Sonic 1 in literally every way. The biggest improvement over the last game is the pacing. Like I mentioned before, the whole 3-act structure for zones doesn't really work in 2D Sonic. It makes each zone feel dragged out. Like by the time you reach the 3rd act, you're like, alright, is it over yet? But of course, Sonic 2 fixed that problem, and I truly cannot emphasize how much of an improvement that was. Last time I said Sonic 1 had aged poorly, but this time, thankfully I cannot say that about its sequel. It's still a phenomenal game that even today I'd recommend you go back and replay. This is Tails' first game. Now, I know the fan base is divided on whether this guy is cute or annoying, but nevertheless, it's cool to see his origins as Sonic's tag-along partner. And man, I try to be as non-biased in these reviews as possible, but for this game that was really hard. All of the games in this trilogy are immensely personal to me. Each one I hold many memories and experiences with, which kind of makes it hard to truly look at them in an analytical way. Just like Sonic 1, 2 has its flaws as well. There's 1 or 2 zones that kind of annoy me. It can be a little too hard at some points, but all in all, 2 is a much greater experience than 1. So if you truly wanted to get a taste of what Sonic games used to be like in the 90s, please go with Sonic 2.
I don't get it. You were so scared to play this game, but now that you have, you've shown that you love it. What was bothering you about it?
I don't know actually. Sonic 2 is actually like one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, okay, I see. Well then how about Sonic 3?
No!